Hello guys, you are welcome back from the break. Let's continue from where we stopped. Another concept under that fraction that we want to consider now is equivalent fraction. What do we mean by equivalent fractions? The fractions that have equal value. They are different fractions in structure, but they all have equal values. So we call them equivalent fraction. Take for instance, half is equivalent to 2 over 4, and it is equivalent to 3 over 6. It is equivalent to 9 over 18. These are equivalent fractions. Why? This is 1 over 2. If we reduce 2 over 4 to the lowest term, it will also be 1 over 2. If we reduce 3 over 6 to the lowest term, it will also be 1 over 2. You can see that they are equivalent indeed. If we reduce these to the lowest term, it will also be 1 over 2, and that is why we call them equivalent fractions. Though they are different in structure, when you look at them, you see them that they are different, yet they have the same value. So we refer to them as equivalent fraction. Let's take some examples on this. Example 1. Find the missing numbers in the equivalent fractions below. Question A. 3 over 8 is equivalent to 12 over this box. We have to find what should be inside this box. Question B. 5 over 4 is equivalent to this box over 28. We have to find what goes into the box. So let's start from A. 3 over 8 will be, you think of what multiplies or divides this 3 to let it become 12 in the equivalent format in front of it here. What happens to 3 by multiplication or division that makes 3 to become 12? You know, this is by multiplication. Something multiplies 3 to let it become 12. And what is that? Good. 4 multiplies 3 to make it become 12. Whatever multiplies the numerator must multiply the denominator. So if 4 multiplies 3 here, to make it become 12 here, definitely that same 4 will multiply 8 to make it become whatever should be here. That means in this box, let's rewrite it, 12 over, in this box we have 8 times 4. That is what should go into the box, which finally will be 12 over 8 times 4, that is 32. So that is the value in the box. Do you need me to convince you that 3 over 8 is equivalent to 12 over 32? If you want me to convince you, this is it. 12 over 32 has some common factors that can divide each of them. If you use 2 to divide 12, use 2 to divide 32, you have 6 over 16 left. Use 2 again to divide the 6. So you have 3. Use 2 to divide 16, you have 8. And that is the least form of that number we can have, which is 3 over 8. That is the minimum. You have reduced it to the lowest term it could be. And that is 3 over 8. Come to look at this. You can see it is also 3 over 8. That is why 3 over 8 is equivalent to 12 over 32, because 12 over 32, if reduced to the lowest term, will give exactly 3 over 8. So the answer is 32 in that box. Let's go to question B. We have 5 over 4 is equivalent to something in the box over 28. You look for what you need by using what you have. The fraction 5 over 4 is equivalent to something over 28. Well, if you don't know the something in the numerator part, after all, you know 28 at the denominator level. So you now ask yourself, what multiplies this 4? Something happens to this 4 that makes it metamorphosized into 28. That is 7. 7 multiplies this 4. If 7 multiplies this 4 to become 28, that same 7 must multiply this 5 to become whatever we have here. That means 5 times 7. So finally, in the box, we will have 5 times 7 is 35 over 28. Once again, do I need to convince you to believe that 35 over 28 is the same as 5 over 4? If you reduce 35 over 28 to the lowest term, you will discover it will give you 5 over 24. Let's try. What is the common factor between 35 and 28? The common factor to 35 and 28 is 7. That is, 7 can divide 35. The same 7 can divide 28. So if 7 goes in 35 5 times, you can see it gives you the numerator here. The same 7 goes in 28. How many times? 4 times. It gives you this denominator. And that is why we believe 5 over 4 is equivalent to 35 over 28. That is that. Let's consider this example 2. Find x and y in the equivalent fractions days. What do we mean? Find the value of x, find the value of y in these equivalent fractions. We believe that all these fractions are equivalent to one another. Find the value of x, find the value of y there. So the secret is this. When you have more than 2 equivalent fractions and you are to find some numerators or denominators, what you do is always take the initial fraction, which is 6 over 5 in this case. Equate it to the immediate one here you need is 12 over y. Equate it to 12 over y. Then ask yourself, what happens to 6 to become 12? That same thing that happens to 6 to become 12 must happen to 5 to become whatever the value of y will be. So 2 multiplies 6 to become 12. Then 2 must also multiply 5 to become y. That is, y will be equal to 5 times 2, which is 10. That is it. Do you understand the explanation at all? What happens to 6 to become 12 is that 2 multiplies 6 and it gives us 12. Also, 2, that same 2 must multiply 5 to give us y. That is why we say y is equal to 5 times 2, which is 10. We are done with that. To get the value of x as well, also, again, write the initial fraction, which is 6 over 5. Equate it to the next thing you need. Now ask yourself, what happens to 5 to make it become 30? 6 must have multiplied 5 to make it become 30. And whatever happens to the numerator will happen to denominator. Whatever happens to denominator will happen to numerator. If 6 multiplies 5 to become 30, the same 6 must come to multiply this numerator 6 to become x. Therefore, x must be 6 times 6, which is 36. And that is the end of this. The next concept in fraction is reducing fractions to their lowest terms. Example 1. Reduce the following to the lowest term. Question A. 42 over 54. To reduce them to their lowest term, I advise you to break the numerator into factors and also the denominators into factors. What do I mean? Look at 42. 2 in 42, that's 2, 1. 3, 7, 7, 1. So write it as 2 times 3 times 7. 54, do the same thing. To make it easier for you, 2 in 5 is 2, in 14, 7, 3, 9, 3, 3, 3, 1. So that will be 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. So you see that 2 is common to both numerator and the denominator, and 2 will cancel 2. 3 is common to both numerator and the denominator. 3 cancel 3. Nothing is common to them again. So you will write 7 over 3 times 3, 9. So 7 over 9 is the answer of reducing 42 over 54 to its lowest term. Question B. In answering this B, I write 60 over 84. To its lowest term, break 60 into factors. 2, 30, 2, 15, 3, 5, 5. So we have 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 all over. Break 84 as well into 4, 2, 2, 1, 3, 7, 7, 1. So that will be 2 times 2 times 3 times 7. 2 cancels 2. 2 cancels 2. 3 cancels 3. We have 5 over 7 as the answer to reducing 60 over 84 to its lowest term. Reducing fractions to their lowest terms is still the point of consideration. Example 2. By what number must the numerator and denominator of each of these fractions be divided to reduce them to their lowest terms? Question A. By what fraction must 98 be divided and also 112 be divided to reduce the fraction 98 over 112 to its lowest term? This is what you are to do. Break 98 into factors. 2 in 9 is 4. In 18, 9. Then 7, 7, 7, 1. So that means 98 is 2 times 7 times 7 all over. Break 1, 1, 2 also into factors. This is just a method. So 2 in 11, that is 5. It remains 1. In 12, that is 6. 2 again. In 5 is 2. In 16, 8. 2 again. 2 is 1. 4. 2, 7. 7, 1. So this is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 again times 7. So what you must take note here is what is or are the common factors to both the numerator and the numerator. Look at it. 2 is common to them. 7 is common to them. So that means if we cut 2 by 2, cut 7 by 7, we have 7 over 8. That is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. We have 7 over 8 left as the remaining fraction, which is in its lowest term. That means that 2 times 7 up here and 2 times 7 down here is 14. 2 times 7 up here is 14. 2 times 7 down here is 14. That means 14 is the number that we divide 98 and 112 to reduce the fraction to its lowest term. Therefore, 14 is the number. The question is, by what number must the numerator and denominator of each of these fractions be divided to reduce them to their lowest term? 14 is the number. I don't know whether you understand my explanation. To know the number, try to find product of the common factors to both the numerator and the denominator will give you the number that will reduce the fraction to its lowest term. Question B, 90 over 165. The question is, what is the number that must divide 90 and 165 to reduce the fraction to its lowest term? To discover the number that must divide the numerator and the denominator at the same time, then you break 90 into factors, just like 90 divided by 2. Just like we did here the other time, 2 in 90 is 45. 3 in 45, that's 15. 3 in 15, 5. 5 in 5 is 1. So that means that is 2 times 3 times 3 times 5 divided by, we break 165 as well into factors. Breaking 165 into factors, that will be, what goes in this? 3. 3 in 165 gives 5 here in 15, 5 again. Then 5, 11, 11, 5. That's 3, 5, 3 times 5 times 11. Are you following? So look at it. What are the common factors to the numerator and the denominator here? You can see 3 is common. 3 is up, 3 is down. 5 is up, 5 is down. So 5 times 3 is 15. The 3 times 5 also down here is 15. Meaning that I can rewrite the number as 2 times 3 is 6 times 15 divided by 15 times 11. Do you understand what I'm trying to do? 3 times 5 is 15. Then the 11 is there. Definitely, if you want to reduce this fraction to its lowest term, we divide the numerator by the 15 and we divide the denominator also by 15 to give us 6 over 11, which is the lowest term of this fraction, 90 over 165. So what is the number that we must divide numerator and also the denominator? Is this 15 that is common to the both numerator and the denominator. Answer is, therefore, the number is equal to 15. Do we understand? Let's consider example 3. To reduce 42 over 165 to its lowest term, we divide the numerator and the denominator by option A, 7, option B, 9, option C, 11, option D, 3. Let's find it out. 42 divided by 165. To reduce it to its lowest term, What we do is that we divide both the numerator and the denominator by the product of their common factors. So let's see. Let's break 42 into factors. 2 times 3 times 7. That is the 42. Yes. All over. Let's break 165 into factors. And that one will be 165. 3 in 16, that is 5. Remains 1. Use the 1 with the 5 in front again. It forms 15. 3 in 15, another 5. 5 in 55 gives 11. Then 11 is the next. So we break 165 into 3 times 5 times 11. So the common factor here is 3. The common factor to both the numerator and the denominator. That common factor 3 is what we need to divide both the numerator and the denominator to reduce this to its lowest form, 14 over 55. Even though the examiner in this regard is not concerned with our reduced term 14 over 55. The 14 over 55 is not the concern of the examiner in this question. The concern of the examiner in this question is the 3 that we need to divide the numerator and the denominator. And how do we discover that? Look at the common factors to both the numerator and the denominator. If they have more than one factor, then product of the common factors up and down is what we need to divide the numerator and the denominator. But here is only one common factor. 3 up, 3 down. So it is the 3 we need to divide the numerator and the denominator to reduce this fraction to its lowest term, 14 over 55. So that is it. Therefore, option D is the answer.